Africa is a continent of immense wealth. It holds a significant portion of the world's natural resources. These resources are diverse and valuable. They include minerals, oil, fertile land, and precious metals. From gold and diamonds to oil and timber, Africa has an abundance of natural treasures. This natural wealth has the potential to bring prosperity to the continent. Unfortunately, it has also been a source of exploitation and conflict for centuries. European colonialism had a devastating impact on Africa, altering the continent's history forever. European powers arrived on the continent in the 15th century, marking the beginning of a long and painful era. They were driven by a thirst for resources and wealth, eager to exploit the land and its people. They saw Africa as a source of raw materials, ripe for the taking. These materials fueled their own industrial revolutions, propelling Europe into a new age of prosperity. This period saw the systematic plunder of Africa's resources, stripping the continent of its wealth. The slave trade is a horrific example of this exploitation, where human lives were treated as mere commodities. Millions of Africans were forcibly taken from their homes, torn from their families and communities. They were shipped across the Atlantic to work on plantations, enduring unimaginable hardships. This brutal system enriched European nations at the expense of African lives and dignity, creating vast wealth for the colonizers. The legacy of colonialism continues to cast a long shadow over Africa, affecting its development to this day. It has left behind a legacy of poverty, instability, and underdevelopment, challenges that African nations are still striving to overcome. Gold has been both a blessing and a curse for Ghana. Known as the Gold Coast during colonial times, Ghana possesses vast reserves of this precious metal. Gold mining has been a significant part of Ghana's economy for centuries. However, the benefits of this wealth have not always reached ordinary Ghanaians. During the colonial era, European powers extracted vast quantities of gold. This gold enriched their empires while leaving Ghana underdeveloped. Today, Ghana faces challenges related to illegal mining and environmental degradation. These issues highlight the need for responsible and sustainable resource management practices. Nigeria possesses some of the largest oil reserves in Africa. This oil wealth has the potential to transform the nation's economy. However, it has also been a source of corruption and conflict. The discovery of oil in the Niger Delta in the 1950s brought hope for prosperity. However, it also brought environmental devastation and social unrest. Oil spills have polluted the environment, destroying livelihoods and ecosystems. Corruption within the oil industry has prevented the equitable distribution of oil revenues. This has fueled poverty and inequality in the Niger Delta region. Nigeria's experience demonstrates the complex challenges of managing resource wealth. Section 5. Diamonds, beauty marred by conflict. Diamonds, symbols of beauty and luxury, have a dark side in Africa. These precious stones, often seen as tokens of love and commitment, hide a grim reality behind their sparkle. Several African countries, including South Africa and the Democratic Republic of Congo, possess significant diamond deposits. These regions are rich in natural resources, yet the wealth generated often does not benefit the local communities. While diamonds have the potential to generate revenue and development, they have also fueled conflict and human rights abuses. The allure of these gems has led to exploitation and severe environmental degradation. Blood diamonds or conflict diamonds are diamonds mined in war zones. These stones are tainted with the blood of those who suffer in the process of their extraction. They are often used to finance rebel groups and militias. These groups perpetuate violence and instability, using the profits from diamond sales to fund their activities. These groups use violence and exploitation to control diamond mines. Workers, including children, are subjected to harsh conditions and forced labor. This has resulted in widespread human suffering and instability. Entire communities are displaced, and the social fabric is torn apart by the ongoing violence. International efforts are underway to curb the trade in conflict diamonds. Initiatives like the Kimberley process aim to certify diamonds as conflict-free, ensuring ethical sourcing. However, challenges remain in ensuring that diamonds contribute to peace and development. The journey towards ethical diamond mining is ongoing, and it requires global cooperation and vigilance to truly transform the industry. Section 6. The human cost of extraction. The extraction of Africa's natural resources has come at a high human cost. Mining and oil exploration often displace local communities. They pollute water sources and destroy traditional livelihoods. Many Africans have been forced from their ancestral lands. They have been pushed into poverty and marginalization. Furthermore, the pursuit of resources has fueled conflict and instability. This has resulted in widespread human rights abuses. It is crucial to recognize the human faces behind the statistics of resource extraction. The voices of those most affected by these activities must be heard. Section 7. Global players in Africa's resources. The global demand for Africa's resources continues to shape the continent's destiny. From precious minerals to vast oil reserves, Africa's natural wealth is immense and varied. Developed countries rely heavily on African raw materials. These resources are essential for manufacturing, technology, and energy sectors worldwide. These materials fuel their industries and economies, driving growth and innovation. Without Africa's contributions, many global industries would face significant challenges. China, in particular, has emerged as a major player in Africa. Its presence is felt in numerous sectors, from mining to construction. It invests heavily in infrastructure and resource extraction projects across the continent. Roads, railways, and ports are being built, transforming the landscape. While these investments have the potential to stimulate economic growth, they also raise concerns. The influx of foreign capital can lead to rapid development, but at what cost? Critics argue that some deals favor Chinese interests at the expense of African nations. They worry about the long-term implications of such agreements. They point to issues such as debt trap diplomacy and a lack of transparency. These concerns highlight the need for careful scrutiny and negotiation. It is essential for African governments to negotiate fair and equitable agreements. Ensuring that these deals are mutually beneficial is crucial for sustainable development. These agreements must benefit their citizens and protect their national interests. By prioritizing transparency and fairness, Africa can harness its resources for the betterment of all its people. As we move further into the 21st century, the demand for Africa's resources is unlikely to diminish. The rise of renewable energy technologies has created a new scramble for resources. Many African countries possess the minerals needed to produce batteries and other components for these technologies. This presents both opportunities and challenges. On the one hand, it could lead to significant economic growth in Africa. On the other hand, it could also result in a new era of exploitation. If not managed carefully, this new wave of resource extraction could exacerbate existing inequalities and environmental degradation. Despite the challenges, there is hope for a brighter future for Africa. Many African nations are taking steps to ensure that their natural resources benefit their people. They are implementing policies to promote transparency, good governance, and sustainable resource management. There is a growing recognition that resource wealth should be used to empower local communities. It should be used to invest in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. By breaking the cycle of dependency and exploitation, Africa can chart a new course for itself. A course that prioritizes the well-being of its people and the preservation of its environment. Sustainable resource management is crucial for Africa's future. This means extracting resources in a way that minimizes environmental damage. It also means ensuring that local communities benefit from resource extraction. It requires a long-term perspective. Investing in renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind power, is essential. This can reduce Africa's reliance on fossil fuels and mitigate climate change. By embracing sustainable practices, Africa can protect its environment. It can also create new economic opportunities and build a more equitable future. Africa stands at a crossroads. The continent faces significant challenges, but it also possesses immense potential. By harnessing its vast natural resources wisely, Africa can overcome these challenges. It can create a future of prosperity and well-being for all its people. This requires strong leadership, good governance, and a commitment to sustainable development. It also requires international cooperation and support. The world must work together to ensure that Africa's resources are used to uplift the continent. It should not be used to perpetuate cycles of poverty and exploitation. The time has come for Africa to claim its rightful place as an equal partner on the global stage.